Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Oh, damn it.
My desk is a fucking mess right now, dude. I've just been putting it off for like 3 weeks cleaning this desk, and there's just more shit accruing on it. It's embarrassing. I'm glad it's just out of like view of this camera because holy shit, it's not
just
good.
On the outer peripherals of my camera, like just out of frame, is like a tower of beer cans from like that's accrued over the pile of like the time of like 3 weeks that I just haven't gotten rid of.
Very nice.
Yeah.
One of my first apartments that I lived in outside of high school, we had this thing called the Bud Light wall because that's what we drank back then. Yuck. But anyway, so what we would do is we would get a case of Bud Light and we would drink the Bud Light, and then you would put the empty bottles back into their little slot in the thing, as you do.
Right.
We did not clean them out because we were animals. And then we would close the case back up and just stack it against the wall. And eventually, over an amount of time that was surprisingly short, we had an entire wall that was just of fucking Bud Light empty bottles, and like the whole place smelled like fermented beer or whatever the fuck is in it. It was disgusting.
Well, yeah, because like mold will grow in them. I know because I've left bottles here long enough that mold, even as an adult male, I still, because Samantha doesn't come up here. There's no woman to make me want to clean. And not that it's like a female's job, but I mean, as a man, the urge to want to not look like an absolute slob is only tempered by the fact that I might either love or be able to fuck. In this case, both.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to see me living like an animal. There's been weeks where she's like, "Oh, I went upstairs and grabbed some recyclables," and I'm like, "Don't do that."
And you're like panicking, like, "Please don't go in there. Please don't see how I really am."
Yeah, she's like, "Why are you upset?" And I'm like, "Because it's disgusting up there, and I don't want you to see it like ever again. Don't do it."
The only reason I ever clean anything is that somebody's going to see it. Like if I had some weird assurance,
it goes for the same goes for your penis too.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, if I had some assurance that nobody would ever see my desk ever again, I would just never clean it. Absolutely, there's just no reason to.
That's fair. Mine's getting really dusty.
Piece of shit. That's just how it goes.
That's just how it goes.
So I've been playing. Real quick, I've been playing the Dark Souls 3 DLC.
Ashes of Ariandel.
I finished Ashes of Ariandel, and everybody said that was really bad, and I loved it. I don't really get what the hate surrounding it was. And now I'm playing the Ring City, and it is significantly better than Ashes of Ariandel.
And you really liked Ashes.
Yeah. So I highly recommend those DLCs. They're very fucking difficult.
I honestly don't think I'll play them before Elden Ring comes out, only because Dying Light 2 is here, and then we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but Dying Light 2 just released, and I have Horizon coming out a couple days before Elden Ring, which is going to be a nightmare to juggle those two, and then Elden Ring comes out, and I just feel like I don't, maybe.
Yeah.
But probably not.
Well, that's how I feel about, I know I can get this done by the time Elden Ring comes out, but I've been wanting to jump on the Final Fantasy 14 train finally, but I'm waiting until I've had my fill with Elden Ring before I do that, because I don't want to juggle those two games at the same time. That just seems like too much.
That'd be a nightmare. I have, this doesn't affect the podcast. Well, unless we unless we have a couple late night recording sessions like we did before. But I have a new, professional little key light coming. Should be arriving today. I got tired. I have these LED strips that I've said this before. But my desk here is like in a little alcove. Like there's a window right behind it, and the wall comes out to like here. So
right.
And like a little, it fits perfectly in this little nook. So I have the wall behind it outlined with LEDs, and that's basically what I used for like the light. It was always just set to white. Well, they started to go bad, or something came loose, because now white is like a greenish yellow.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if one of the connectors has started to loosen or something, probably something stupid like that. But I just decided, I just get a bonus at work, and I decided it's time to get a little gifty for myself.
There you go.
And I ordered that key light, so it should be here today.
Yeah.
Which means I'm excited to stream tomorrow.
You had mentioned buying me an Autoblow AI as well, and you said it as a joke, but I took it seriously, so I expected to follow through on that.
But the light was $200, so
right. You spent $200 on a light?
Yeah.
See, you're taking the Nick Benson path. Now you're just on one-way ticket to fucking just fame. You're just buying the expensive stuff.
I should have just bought like a $600 SLR, SLR to be my normal webcam. Anyway, what's going on? How you doing? How's your day going?
It's going pretty good. I got to sleep in a little bit. I watched TV. I got a little high.
Oh, okay.
And I read some comics, and that it's been pretty good. I got to say, it's pretty much just mission like a JO sesh. I didn't get one of those in, but would have made for a perfect Sunday morning if I just had that. But I won't complain for 9 out of 10. It's a good
easy like Sunday morning.
Yeah. I'm gonna just roll back in my chair because my Gatorade is behind me while you tell me how your day was.
Oh, I was about to go. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks, Derek. But you actually did ask me. So, I'm having quite a lovely weekend. Nothing crazy. I mean, so I've been talking about dieting for a while. I officially started last week. On my weekend, I'm down 9 pounds.
Very nice.
I expect it to come off quickly early on. That's what keto does usually.
Yeah.
Also, the reason I was as fat as I was because my lifestyle choices were so bad that just doing something simple like not snacking at midnight every night is going to help by leaps and bounds. So, down 9 pounds. My lifestyle here is evident. I'm sipping a Perrier, pink grapefruit Perrier. It's delicious.
Just so we see, that's like a social status thing. Drinking Perrier. I see what tax bracket you're in now.
And we have some. We just got back from grocery shopping, and I bought this coffee that I've been wanting to try for a long time, which is the Death Wish coffee. They actually had it in stores. Drinking out of this adorable little. I didn't realize it wasn't on both sides. Little Pusheen mug.
Very nice.
And I have the creamer in there is keto friendly creamer. So my life right now is no carbs, and it's been totally fine. Shout out to one of our sponsors this week, Factor 75, in a meal delivery service. They supplied me with the first week meals. I'm kidding. They're expensive, and I paid for them out of pocket. Factor. What's up, buddies? How you doing? Send me some free meals.
Hey.
But they've been a lifesaver because one of the biggest hurdles, and I've told you this, just not on mic, with dieting for me is dinner time because we would always prep like lunches and breakfasts for me to take to work. But when it comes to dinners, even if I had like a plan, like I'd buy chicken breast for the week to cook, you get done work late, your wife gets home late, something happens, you're stressed out, you don't feel like cooking. It's so easy to just go, I'm going to go to McDonald's or I'm going to go to Wawa. And that's what would always happen. So with these meals that have actually been delicious, it's been really easy. I've been looking forward to, I come home, I preheat the oven because preheating it in the oven is superior to a microwave. And if you like it the other way, you're a fucking heathen.
Yeah. Disgusting.
You, as a male of this species, I feel like you only think microwaves can reheat things until you're in your like late 20s. And then at some point, someone is like, you're reheating your pizza in the microwave. And then they're like, come here, let me show you something.
And they do it the right way for you.
And then you hear, ha! It's like an angel's choir singing in the background.
No, dieting really is tough. I'm also on the health train. I'm not doing the dieting so much, but I am working out. But dinner was always, with dieting, the hardest thing for the same reason cleaning your private room is that when you're eating breakfast and lunch, you're at work so people can see you. So like you can't eat like an asshole animal in front of other people. So you pretend like, I'm just doing a kale salad. But when you're at home,
subconsciously I've thought about that, but I'm not like physically if I thought I don't want people to think I'm an idiot or a monster.
Well, plus I have the most wonderful girlfriend in the world, and so when I'm like, I probably shouldn't eat these fried lasagna bites, she's like, well, you had a rough week, you should just have them. And
dude, you have no idea. Where I'm like, I had a really rough day, and Samantha's like, it's okay, just start your diet tomorrow. And she would like feed into my denial. But she's a sweetheart, and if I'm into dieting, she supports me. and she'll do whatever, but if I'm like, I just really don't want to, she's like, it's okay. There's no reason not to be a fat piece of shit. You fat piece of shit is what I feel like she should have been saying to me to get me to move. Anyway, this is episode 54 of the Cynical Nerd podcast. We have some stuff to talk about. We jokingly, well, not jokingly, we were serious. We had said we probably wouldn't talk about Boba Fett, and then realized it was the penultimate episode and that probably some shit was going to happen. And oh boy, did some shit happen that I have to talk about and hopefully not cry. We talked about watching Swiss Army Man last week. We did not do that, unfortunately. We forgot. I think both of us forgot. I forgot. I don't know if you did.
I did not watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I meant Pam and Tommy. I totally forgot Pam and Tommy came out.
Yeah.
And because of that, last night I was going to watch Swiss Army Man and instead ended up binging all 3 available Pam and Tommy episodes. So our main topics today are Peacemaker episode 6, Book of Mandalorian episode 6, and Pam and Tommy. And yes, that was intentional. Weekend review and movies / game trailers. Not that huge this week, so we might be looking at another shorter one. But guess what? You don't control us.
Yeah, you don't. We're not getting paid for this. It'll
No.
be as long as we want it to be.
If you want to pay us for this, I'd be glad to have a longer, totally. Yeah. With arms wide open. You're no idea where that came from. Whenever I hear that phrase, it's just like I just hear Scott Stapp's.
It's like it's been a while. It just like awakens this, like, you just have to do
monster.
It. Right.
Awakens a monster. All right. So first off, apparently this was not done as a direct response to Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, but it felt like it. Sony is reportedly buying Bungie for $3.6 billion doll hairs. That's a lot of doll hairs, Derek.
It's quite many. Yes.
Bungie, as you know, is the developer of Destiny and Destiny 2. Also famously the Halo franchise up until Halo 3. I think they did the trilogy and then stopped. I think 4. Did they do Reach? They did Reach, right?
They did do Reach. That was their final one. Yeah. And
then they didn't. And then it was handed off to 343 Studios, who have had mixed results, but their latest outing has been pretty fun. So this has supposedly been in the works for a while, but they put out a statement about how they're going to stay as an independent subsidiary, and very tellingly in the statement made sure that they said their Destiny 2 will remain on as many platforms as possible, which is like a no shit statement. It's a live service. Like, you want as many people to be able to pay for it as possible. So I'm assuming that, at some point Bungie will be making PlayStation exclusives, but alongside whatever stuff they're doing for live service.
Yeah.
But as of right now, nothing's really changing besides the fact that they are owned by Sony. So how do you feel? And just before I ask you, I don't give a shit about this. Doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah.
I don't care. How do you feel about it?
I mean, pretty much the same. Like, when I try to look at it subjectively, that's how I feel about it. But I mean, just what's happening in the industry as a whole, with Microsoft kind of sucking up all these studios, and now Sony's kind of doing it here and there. They've been doing it for a while, but with like smaller studios. We've talked about that plenty of times on the show. There's no reason to really rehash it. I feel like I don't want to come across as biased, and I have to see what Microsoft does with those studios that they bought before I can truly say this. But I have a feeling that, all right, let me say it like this. Sony has always bought studios and then essentially just taken their cut of the pie. They just go like, you're still an independent, like, you're your own company. You'll run things the way you want, but we just, we're going to distribute for you. So we're going to take distribution costs.
Right.
Microsoft, I just have this feeling, and it's just a feeling, so it can be totally discredited in whatever way you want, but I just have a feeling they're not going to be like, it just seems like an EA move to me. Like, well, we own all these companies now, so they're going to do things the Microsoft way, which we talked about last week, that it could potentially for some studios be a good thing, like Blizzard. I like that they bought the studio, and then it seems like they're making it very clear that they're keeping it multi-platform, because like you said, like, why wouldn't you? It doesn't really make sense to
Right.
backtrack on that. I guess I don't know how that works though. Like, will Microsoft have to, pay royalties to Sony for every copy that's sold for Xbox? I have no idea. But ultimately, personally, it means nothing to me. I think that we're going to be seeing more of this because that seems to be the direction like we've had over the past 10 or so years. We grew up and it was like there were Sega games and Nintendo games and PlayStation games and then Xbox games. And it was all very, insular, I guess. And then everything's sort of mishmashed together except for Nintendo. And now everything's sort of re-segregating. So, I don't know. Like, all I can say is this. There is nothing in the world you could possibly do to get me to buy an Xbox Series 1 for XYZ. I always forget what it's called. Stupidest name imaginable. Yeah. They all come out on PC anyway, so I'd rather just play them on PC to begin with. Right. I think that Sony has proven themselves to have a good eye for which studios to pick up. They put out great exclusives. So, that's it.
I actually messed up when you said there's no way you get me to buy. I wanted to say a Klondike bar, and I said a Kit Kat. So, really, just negative points for me.
Just bleep yourself. Make people think you said a bad word.
I'll try to. I'll forget where it is. We're about 15, 16 minutes in. I'll look for it. That'd be a fun time. They'll be like, what did he say?
Did you say a
now
slur?
You'll never know.
No, he said the wrong joke, and it was really embarrassing.
Yeah. You ever seen South Park where Stan Marsh is on Wheel of Fortune and says the really wrong word?
Yeah.
Maybe I bleep that. You'll never know now. So
I like that. The really wrong word is how I'm going to refer to it from now on.
The really wrong word. It's alliteration too. Works out great. Man, sorry. I'm interjecting a little dad story in the middle of our weekend review.
Dad me.
Because I meant to tell you earlier. Grayson has, well, it's really a son story, but Grayson is, like every day he's telling funny stories. Earlier we were talking, we were like, we really need Grammy to cut your hair. And he was like listening to us and he went, gotta go, bye. And then ran down the hallway. Like he's really starting to, his personality's coming out a lot. And, he really made me feel like, he hit me with a guilt trip a minute ago. So I was like, all right, buddy, I'll see you in a bit. I'm going upstairs to do some work. And he went, Daddy, you going upstairs? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh, I thought you were going to hang out with us.
Oh, no.
And yeah. And I was like, And I looked back and my wife was like, yeah. So I was like, I'll be back. And he's like, oh, okay. Anyway.
You should have just held his nose in it. Be like, remember that time that I was talking about a haircut and you said bye and just ran away? That's what I'm doing to you right now. Bye.
Yeah. Gotcha. Also, because the weekends are not mealified for me, I can eat whatever I want. It's still easy for me to eat in keto, just have like an omelet in the morning or something. And then something else at night. Last night I had that keto friendly pizza from Quest, I think was the brand. Okay. Tonight we stopped at a little, we went to Acme to do our normal shopping. And then we stopped at a little small deli / market that's on the way home called Rostelli's up here. Shout out to Rostelli's. Thanks for sponsoring the episode. And they have good cuts of meat. They have a nice butcher counter. But they went in and this prepackaged choice cut of New York strip steak. It's like 2 inches thick. I picked up some shrimp and some asparagus. I'm gonna come. Anyway,
kind of fucked up for you to start talking about that right now. I'm really hungry, and now we got this whole episode to do before I can eat.
I'm sorry. Also, don't let me forget, before we switch over to main topics, I want to talk a little bit about Dying Light 2. And also maybe that new Pokemon game that I did not want to spend money on and ended up spending money on. Anyway. I
would like to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, thank you. I would like to tell you my thoughts.
Excellent.
Now back to our regularly scheduled bullshitting. World of Warcraft will... this is a fun one. Yeah. World of Warcraft will finally allow Horde and Alliance to play together. Yeah, okay. This should be called We're Hemorrhaging Subscribers, and the only way we can fill out raids and dungeons is if we allow cross-faction play. This has been a major request of the fan base for years, because the game is 15 years old? Like, it's getting up there.
Yeah.
And, after so long, there have been so many expansions where at the end of the day, even if the Horde and Alliance, we're still at odds with each other, you're fighting a common threat. It's always been that. It's very rarely, besides like battle for Azeroth, where the main focus was once again, Horde versus Alliance. So people have been like, I don't understand, like, there's, in the lore, there are orcs and like humans who are friendly and stuff like that. Like, why shouldn't you be able to be friends with whoever you want? Like Final Fantasy, there's no factions. There's just a bunch of classes and races, and you're friends with whoever you want to be friends with. People have been asking for this for years, and in true Blizzard fashion, they never gave it to people who wanted it, because they don't do that. They follow their own vision that they think is best for players. Sometimes they're right. Often, lately, they're wrong. But now they're doing it and thinly veiling it as if they're doing it now for the players and not for the fact that, like, things are just going down the shitter for the game. And I thought I only included this because as like a final send off, just go fuck yourself, World of Warcraft. I've loved that game for over a decade, and I feel nothing for it now. It's dead to me. It's like it cheated on me with somebody else. That's it. That's all I got.
I think it's dumb. Like, I think it's always been like the whole point of the game is like you have to pick a faction, and now it just doesn't matter. I kind of skimmed the video, honestly, but it seemed like maybe it's not just like if you queue for a dungeon finder, it's just a mishmash of factions. I think you have to actually be friends with someone.
Oh yeah, there's some work involved. Yeah,
but it just seems like, I don't know. I just don't like it. I just think it's like, what's the point of having factions now? Just have all these races, like you said with Final Fantasy 14. Like Alliance and Horde kind of mean nothing now, honestly.
Yeah,
there
used to be.
Sorry, go ahead. No, we said we can't do this.
Jinx, give me a Coke or a blowjob. Your choice. Oh, choose wisely. If they didn't invent cross-realm play or phasing, like cross-realm phasing, which basically means they'll phase multiple servers in a group together to make sure areas are filled out, to make sure when you go to search for a group, you can always find people, which is a very smart technology for an MMO. Very smart, because before that, if you were just on a dead server, there was nothing you could do about it. You just would always struggle to find people to play with. But if they didn't have cross-realm, maybe I could understand cross-faction, because there are some servers where it's so one-sided, like the server's 90% Alliance, 10% Horde. In that case, yeah, those Horde are going to want to ally with Alliance just for player-based numbers, but that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know, it just feels so silly.
I will tell you this, though. I have, Veronica and I both have had this itch to play World of Warcraft that, like, I'm trying to dissuade by getting into Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Which, again, is not going to happen until I've had my fill with Elden Ring. But
sounds so dirty when you say it.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's always been like that since I started playing when I was 17 years old. I'm so into it for a couple months, and then I'm like, this is the most boring, repetitive game I've ever played in my whole life. And then like a year or two goes by, and it's all I can think about.
No, I know what you mean. It's why every expansion brought me back.
Yeah.
Since they started, besides the Mist of Pandaria, every expansion's brought me back.
Yeah. But I think so, like Veronica and I think that our rule that we're setting for ourselves is we're going to wait for this acquisition to happen and see what happens to the game. And then if it seems better, we'll jump in. But if it seems like it's a lot worse, then probably not.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Enough about that shithole of a game. Next up on the docket, this is just me because I like Batman. That's all. That's an Instagram post. DC has a habit of making variant covers for the movies that are coming out. So they have a bunch of different artists make covers based on the new film that's coming out. They did it for Justice League. They've done it for Batman. And some of these are really sick. And by some of these, I mean specifically the second one where he's on a gargoyle. Looks
damn, I didn't even realize there was more than one.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
It's really good looking. I was actually trying to figure out what artist did that because it looks that fucking good. But they're all pretty cool. They're all pretty neat based off of the movie. Some of them are really stylized. Yeah, that's the only reason it's here. And also just to remind everybody that Batman's fucking coming out. Tickets go on sale February 10th, although please don't buy your tickets if you live in the central New Jersey area, because we have to buy ours first, and I'd appreciate it if you guys could all hold off.
Yeah. And we need 4 because we're doing a double date night.
Oh, double date night. Double D's to watch the bees.
And then we're having a weird polyamory experiment afterwards. Can't wait.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I got to figure out how many.
Just kidding. My girlfriend listens to this show, so I have to make it very clear that we're just kidding.
Yeah. What? Oh man, I wish we had talked about this beforehand, so that you and I could talk very seriously about it, as if like it was our plan the whole time, and that they didn't know. Oh man, Sam doesn't listen to every episode, but that still would have been hilarious. But yeah, then we're gonna come back to your place, and
you guys
we're gonna
didn't know
light some
about
candles.
this? It's in the contract.
Yeah. And Derek and I are going to go first, just to ease the tension for everybody. You got
make everybody get real nice and loose.
Yeah, loose. Some fluids swapping. All right, I'm done talking about this. Yeah, I'm really stoked for this movie. I can't wait. I've taken a moratorium on. There's too many TV spots coming out for this. I don't want to know any more about it. Yeah. We've said enough. Nothing to talk about with the movie. It looks fucking gorgeous. I can't wait to see it. It looks like it's going to be a fucking experience. It's 3 hours long. Gimme. I'm going to have a belly full of delicious food. We're going to go and hang out. It's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it. That's it.
That's it.
That's all there is to it.
That's the episode.
Yeah. Bye. Up next, Amazon Prime is raising costs, and apparently it's due to that Lord of the Rings show that's really expensive. Now, the article I actually pulled is from Slash Film, and it's kind of a funny article. It's also a bit of a whiny article, because they're complaining about stuff like Jeff Bezos' penis rocket and how much that probably cost. But that's his money, and I can understand you're going, well, but he's getting paid by the ridiculous, surplus of money that Amazon makes. Yeah, I get that, but it is kind of, they make a good point. So Amazon has a yearly membership. It's been like this for a long time. You pay one price. And you can do monthly now too, but you pay one price and you get access to the better shipping options, which is what everyone usually paid for it for. Better shipping options. And then you get access to Amazon Prime, Amazon Music. You get access to all their services with this big monthly thing. And the article makes a good point of saying, well, what if I don't want those things? What if I just want better shipping prices and costs? What if I just want Prime and I don't want all the other shit? Like, they're raising their yearly membership costs $20. So it's going from, I think it's $120 right now up to $140. And the monthly memberships are going up $2 to $15 a month. Basically, boys and girls, if you're doing the math, this is another HBO Max subscription without ads, but you get better shipping on products. You get streaming services. You get music services. You might not use them, but there is a lot in this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not on the... Sometimes I feel like I come off on the side of corporations. I don't think it's that crazy, but I would like it if they would break the services out individually. Because I don't use Amazon Music ever, literally ever.
I did it for a long time, but Spotify is just a far superior. It really is just a great medium.
Oh no, you didn't stop using it to protest Joe Rogan?
No, I did not. No, I actually agree. I feel like with a lot of services like this, I think it would make more sense to have sort of tiered subscriptions where, like, if you don't watch anything on Amazon Prime, but you just want the 2-day shipping, it's only whatever, $10.99 a month or something. But I agree. I don't think that it's really like an outlandish price for the amount of services that you get for it. I remember about a year ago, we had an episode where Netflix had done their like 4th increase in like 2 years up to like, I think it's like $20 a month now or something, with like no new shows to show for it at that time. Now we have a lot more, but, and it's kind of like, if you're not showing like what it is that you're raising the price for, then that's something to be angry about. But this is like just a multi-platform. There's just a lot that you get out of it. I agree. I don't really care. Although it's funny you mentioned the article. It does come across as whiny, and it's one of those things where it's like, you can agree with something someone's saying, but it's the way that they say it. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like,
it's like you'd say, like, you like Harry Potter, but you hate people that are Harry Potter fans.
Yeah,
so in my mind, this is a similar allegory. Like, one of the subheadings of this article is, Alexa, how much does a penis rocket cost? And it's like, shut up, you smarmy cunt.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. It's actually a woman. I did not mean derogatorily to the woman that wrote this article. So you know what? Fuck that. Cunt's a great insult. I don't care if you're man or woman.
Really, it's great.
Man,
It's
female,
unisex.
whatever. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, but I keep forgetting that this Rings of Power show literally has a $500 million budget.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. So hopefully you can really tell.
Those the
you know.
marketing campaign that they did with the I think it was about like 20 pictures of various characters of just their collarbone to their belly button. And did you see them?
Yeah.
It's an interesting marketing campaign. I always like when they do stuff that's a little bit different. I would have liked to see something a little more, but I'm not terribly mad at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying like I have full faith in this show, but I am starting to lean more towards like maybe this might be okay. Maybe it might not.
I
be
know.
So bad.
Even inching your way,
Yeah.
interim style, over towards the camp of
Yeah.
maybe I'm interested in this. All right. So last and weekend review here. Jackass Forever came out on the 4th. I keep hearing that it's hilarious. The reviews are pretty solid, but I've had a couple friends who actually went out and saw it on the weekend. And they said that it was hilarious. They were in tears, and I really want to see it. I'm like hyped to see it, but I'm not going to pay for a theater. So come on out, Paramount Plus, do whatever. I'll pay for a trial to watch it. Jackass Forever, the point of this article, is that it did 1.7 mil in previews, which is great for, I mean, a non-superhero movie. I mean, like the budget for that movie is probably probably under $1 million,
Yeah.
I would think. And just in previews, it's on track to defeat Derek and I's secret guilty pleasure, Moonfall, at the weekend box office, which is impressive. I gotta say, I was rather startled for this. Oh shit, never mind. Hold up. For a film with a budget of only $10 million. Okay.
Oh.
They had $10 million
Jeez.
for that? The film is expected to pull an additional 15 to 20 million during its opening week. Oh, so they expect to make that's why these types of movies are profitable as long as you can do it. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Fun fact, I went to school with someone who's in the Jackass movie. He's a fella who his name I won't divulge because I'm gonna get real into the nitty gritty. He was always a good skateboarder when we were kids. He grew up, he got onto a label or like whatever it's called. I think sponsored. He was sponsored by some skateboard company, got a shitload of money when he was like 20 something years old, developed a real bad heroin problem, got booted off the label. And he's kind of been like sort of a nobody for the past couple years. But you know how like in their skits, they have these, just random people that'll be here for this skit or this stunt or whatever. He's, I don't know if it's going to make the movie, but he posted the video to his Facebook of him doing like a Ring Around the Rosie type deal with Wee Man, and they sit like they all have to, or musical chairs rather, and one of the chairs has like the airbag that like launches you off or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. I just thought that was neat for him because
now we're all gonna know who it is if that so I mean
if it makes the cut, sorry about that. But no, I just remember why it was just kind of a surreal thing because I remember being like 9 years old and watching CKY videos with him, and now he's hanging out with those guys. I just thought that was cool for him. It's also cool that it seems to be doing well. Moonfall, another thing that surprised me, speaking of budgets, is that it only had a budget of 140 million, which in movie terms is not a whole lot. And it looks like well done, like the special effects. That's what shocks me.
I want to see it pretty badly.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely. Oh, wow. Jackass Forever. And again, I know that we don't give Rotten Tomatoes all that much heft, but it's at a fucking 85 for the actual review critic score, and the audience score is a 93. So people are in fact loving this movie. Yeah. Critics' consensus is a gleefully gonzo franchise revival. Jackass Forever will make you worry more than ever for the cast's health and safety, but not enough to hold back on the laughter. Sounds good. Can't wait. Looking forward to seeing it. Very much so. All right, cool. We're into movies and trailers and all things. Well, movie trailers, not movies and trailers. Hey, we're into stuff and things. I feel like we've been talking about this a lot lately. It's because they released like a teaser for this, and then the game came out, and there's been a lot of Halo stuff going on recently. And this comes out soon. So the first official full-length trailer for the Halo series on Sci-Fi. Sorry, Paramount Plus will be coming out in March. Yes, that was a dig if you were curious. Comes out March 24th on the Paramount Plus service. This trailer made me less interested. Here's the thing. I think I'm going to give this a shot. I'm obviously not going to pay for Paramount Plus to watch it, but I would like to see the first couple and see how it's feeling, because beyond being Master Chief and shooting aliens and kind of really, really roughly knowing that, you know, what happened with who attacked who and shit, I don't know a super deep amount of Halo lore. So if they're gonna show like the last human cities on Earth or space colonies out, like that might be interesting to me. Like the more human, non-Master Chief aspects of Halo that I don't know a whole lot about. That being said, the trailer looks cheaply made. The CGI in this trailer might as well just have been cutscenes from Halo Infinite that they spliced in here, especially the bad guys. Shit, I'm forgetting their fucking name. The whole,
Helios, well, elites.
Elites, yeah.
In their own language.
Easy
Helios,
fucking.
so.
I like that you said that though.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's probably like when I say some weird random shit in Star Wars and you're like, wait, did you make that up?
Like the name of the Twi'lek's tentacles.
Yeah, Lekus. I don't know. What's weird about that?
Now I know you weren't making up for sure, because that was like 2 weeks ago and you said the same word again. So unless you have like a notepad in front of you.
No, I figured you would have Googled it to double check me after I told you.
No. I just trust you implicitly.
Yeah, the Twi'leks, there's the Togruta race, whatever. Anyway, going back. So the voice for Master Chief is throwing me off. It's what's his fucking name? Pablo Schreiber. It's Liev Schreiber's brother.
Oh, okay.
The guy who played the Leprechaun in American Gods. I don't think his name's not Leprechaun, but I mean he's playing that version of a version of the Leprechaun. He's Master Chief, but he's a tall motherfucker in real life, so sure that works out. But hearing his voice behind that armor, it makes the whole show. And I'm sorry, it is his fault. It makes the whole show look like this was a cosplay or independent project. Yeah. We've had like literally decades of the same guy, or at least the guy who sounds very similar to each other, voicing Master Chief, and to have a completely different inflection coming out of that helmet, it just sounds fucking weird to me. I also, Cortana's iffy for me, but I'll hand over the reins. How'd you feel about this trailer?
I felt really poorly about it. And the thing that blew me away is this. No matter how, and I made a post on Facebook about this, so I'm sorry, you already read this, you already know this opinion, but you take a lot of people feel very differently about the Halo games. Some people liked the beginning and then they got sick of them. Some people never really liked them. The one thing that it seems across the board everybody agrees upon is that the soundtrack is fucking amazing. Like the music is just great in all of these games. They find a way to make this like identifiable central theme to each game, but it's done in a totally radically different way in each game. So it's like paying tribute to the series itself, but also like doing something new at the same time. I just can't believe they put some generic ass "Can You Feel It Coming in the Air Tonight" orchestral version over this that was so hollow and meaningless, and it like completely just made me unable to make it to take the trailer seriously from the very beginning. And then, like you said, Master Chief's voice comes out, and it's just like, I know you can't get a guy who's like going to sound exactly like the guy, because then it's just going to be slightly off and you're going to be like, feel weird the whole time. I don't know what the answer is, but like, this isn't it. It's so jarring to like see that character and to hear a different voice come out of him. Same thing with Lord Hood and Dr. Halsey. I know they got, and then it's the exact opposite with Cortana. They got the original voice actress, but she looks so fucking different that it's like, what the fuck? Like, why wouldn't you just make her look how she looked in all these games? It looks exceptionally bad. And I feel like it's not going to capture anything of what made Master Chief an interesting guy. And that's that basically he achieves this demigod status, not only with the Covenant, because he's just like unkillable, but with the humans, because every time they're about to get their asses kicked, he manages to just show up and save the day and not ask for any thank yous and just kind of fuck off into the sunset. It just doesn't seem like that's here. I feel like they're going to do this like humanization of him, which in the novels works very well, but I feel like if you were to do that too much in a video game, it would just make you lose what makes Master Chief Master Chief. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm with you. I'm going to watch it. I have a lot of my friends on Facebook who have now like sworn it off, and I get it. I completely understand that, but my curiosity is still piqued enough that I want to go like, all right, I'll watch 2-3 episodes of this and see how it goes. But I don't expect that I'm going to like it.
Yeah. I have very low expectations for this. All right. We have something serious to talk about, boys. Boy, man, friend, Derek.
Whatever.
There we go. I'll settle on Derek.
All right.
Something very serious to talk about, Derek. And that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre trailer. Okay. So I have like
difficult for you.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me.
Take a break.
I have less what's less than 0?
-1.
Well, I meant okay, smart ass. Fucking you're my wife right now. I have less than 0. Okay, sure. I have negative interest in this show. This trailer, I knew they were making a new one. I did not know that they were ripping the plot directly from the new Halloween movies, where it's a direct sequel to the original. And even the fucking one victim that escaped from the original has been like biding her fucking time until the main antagonist returns. And then she's going to come back and try to deliver some swift justice. The CGI in this trailer was not good. And Jesus Christ, if you're religious, I don't care. This is warranted. You'll agree with me in a minute. There's a section in this trailer.
We just lost half our Christian fan base. They just walked out.
Peace.
We've been deplatformed on Spotify.
Yeah. Well, that's good because I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel for the second half of this review. No, I mean, there's a moment in this trailer that I've seen some people say they like, and it's like hard for me to understand how. It's so cringy and bad. They're on a bus, and Leatherface gets themselves on a bus with them and like locks the door and starts the chainsaw. And all these people immediately, Sadie's drinking. Yeah.
I saw her back
there. Thanks, Sadie. Thanks for the sound effects. On a bus, they all immediately pull their cell phones out. And this guy's like, try anything and you're canceled, man. Or some really stupid shit like that. To a guy who's about to like murder you. And it was so cringy and so stupid and so poorly executed. And I don't see how anybody thought that was cool or clever or tongue-in-cheek at all. Anything besides just bad. And I can't agree with you if you think that it wasn't. And I would challenge you to a duel if it was appropriate.
It's like trying to like make a stance on cancel culture without actually making a stance whatsoever. It's like, is it making fun of cancel culture? Is it endorsing it? It's just like it made no point. It just
you were
said
right.
The word cancel culture.
You just said cancer culture by accident, but that's pretty accurate to what this clip was cancer culture. Fucking, God. I don't have anything to say about this trailer. I have no interest in watching this. I might check it out because I already pay for the service it's going to show up on, but it looks not good to me.
I don't care for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't. There was one that I watched as a kid that scared the shit out of me. But watching it later in life, I realized it was just because I was a kid. I think a lot of slasher movies suck now because they're turning their killers into like taking on mass groups of 40 people at one time, which is just not in my opinion, what makes a slasher movie good. It's like they're hiding in the dark. They're in the closet and they swoop you, from the back of the room.
The monster under the bed. Right.
And it's just so like, they're basically just like super villains now. Like they just like take on entire towns at once. It's just corny. I will say though that this was done, it looks like, by the team who did the new Evil Dead, which there were mixed.
I liked the new Evil Dead.
Me too. Like a lot. I liked that one. There were mixed receptions on that one. I happen to be in the camp that liked it. So like that on its own makes me go, all right, this is worth checking out then. So I'm going to watch it. I didn't know that. But I just don't care for slasher movies. And like the corny shit, like the oh, try anything and you'll get canceled, and like all these tongue-in-cheek jokes. Like there's only so much. You and I talked about this personally a couple days ago. Like slasher movie fans will sit there and say like, oh no, the campiness is part of it. It's part of the charm. It's supposed to be bad. And it's like, that has an expiration date. Like, you can't say an entire genre is supposed to be bad. That's like if a single movie is making a commentary, and like Scream makes meta commentary. I get that. Like, that's cool. That's new. It's a new way of approaching it. But to say the whole genre, like, oh, you can't criticize that part of that. That's not allowed because they're doing it intentionally. I don't fucking care. It's stupid. Like, it sucks. It's corny. Whether it's intentional or not, it doesn't like take away from that. But final note is I am actually leaning more towards on the side of like, I will probably watch this within a day or two of it coming out, because again, I really liked the new Evil Dead, and I'm going to do it. I don't know how to end sentences. I just ramble, and then I hope that I naturally find an end, and then I don't. So I just go, I'm done now.
You just hope there's like a graceful landing built in somewhere
right.
that you set up ahead of time. I just rewatched the trailer while you were talking about it, and the scene that I was referencing as being so cringy is still very, very cringy.
Yeah.
I was making a face, you probably could tell. It's very gory. Right after that happens, and he starts chainsawing people. He's lifting someone up with a chainsaw in them. That stuff is cool, but gory isn't scary. And again, turning these guys into supervillains who can take on 20 people on a bus without being overpowered just by sheer numbers is crazy. There's no way. I mean, sure, if one person is going to get taken out while that chainsaw is busy digging through one person's arm, you have 20 people dogpile on this motherfucker. He's dead. Like, what? That's insane to me. Mm-hmm. And making these horror movie stars or monsters larger than life, so they're no longer just a person who's fucked up, which is infinitely more scary to me than someone who's like bound by the forces of evil and cannot be killed. Like what they turned Michael Myers into at the end of Halloween Kills. I hate that so much because I feel like it takes away. It's not scary to me anymore because it's like, all right, so like, what are you gonna throw him in fucking molten lava like you did the end of T2? Like, what are we gonna do to this guy to kill him? Like, it's gonna be something outlandishly stupid.
Like, that's what makes like Scream scary. That's what made the original Friday the 13th scary. Like that fucking weird guy that lives 3 houses down. Like that could be him. Like that's what makes it like, holy shit. But I agree. Turning them into like a force of evil. It's just, I don't know. It just takes me. It's not like any of these are meant to be immersive, but it just makes it corny.
It detracts from the mysticism or the mystery, the dread, I guess.
What does the rest of your shirt say? It's killing me. I just see Vert.
Oh, I love this shirt. It's it's a Swedish chef. Good. My wife got me this shirt. It says Vert de Ferk. I'm a big proponent of hurdy burk burk burk. Mr. Swedish Chef. I love him very much. Hurdy.
That was a good.
I've turned several songs into Swedish Chef songs.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you.
All right. Well, mine just says Roid Rage just banned it, and that's because I work at a GI office, and turns out pretty popular treatment for hemorrhoids is to put a really tight band around them inside your asshole, and then the hemorrhoid just sort of dies and falls off. A little butt crusty that you just shit out.
Oh, weird.
So got roids?
I didn't know
just
that.
Just banned it.
Yeah. I like it. All right, I'll give you one secret. The Swedish Chef could very easily sing the farmer's insurance song. Because we are farmers. Hurdy, pork, pork. He could take that over, and that would be his. Sorry.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's a Muppet skit I just made up in my head. That's what I do in my free time.
Thanks, Farmers Insurance and Muppets for sponsoring this episode. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the monetary donations you've made. So the fact that this is being made by the Evil Dead people, Fede Alvarez, I just looked it up. I really did like that Evil Dead remake. There's actually, for like the first time that I can remember in a horror movie, I thought that a murder of something was beautiful. Because in the Evil Dead scene, there's this like backlit shot of them killing a creature with a chainsaw, where it's like up against the house and it's like coming through it like this, and there's blood. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
it's really like awesome looking. Anyway,
That movie
A
also
lot.
has like not to dwell on it for too long. That movie has everybody has a thing, right? Like some people are like, oh, in movies when someone gets stabbed, it freaks me out. Other people are like, I don't care when people get stabbed, it's when they get sliced. Other people are like, I hate anything with eyes. I hate anything with fingernails. That movie has everyone's thing in one movie. Like there's slicing, stabbing, eye stabbing, fingernail pulling, finger breaking, tongue ripping, teeth missing.
Oh.
What the shit just happened?
Oh, I did that. It was
Did
my
you just
fault.
go to heaven?
Yeah. Just there. That's better. You just go to heaven.
That's what I appreciated about Evil Dead is there was no escape from that like skeevy, like, ooh, everyone had that moment in that movie.
Yeah. Plus the girl that played the like possessed, she was very creepy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, unsettling.
Mhm.
For the first time since like the original Exorcist was I creeped out just by the like a possessed person's appearance. Anyway.
I still would though. Without a doubt.
Hey,
I can
even
fix
with them
her.
crazy eyes, I can fix her. All right, one more trailer I tossed in here that I found last night, just for S's and G's. That's industry term for shits and giggles. This is the last days of Teleme Gray. I think it's Teleme. I think the P is silent.
I thought it was Ptolemy, but
Sure, please correct me, Daddy. I have no idea. Ptolemy. I'll go with Ptolemy. Teleme Gray. This is a series coming to Apple Plus TV, and I saw it starring Samuel L. Jackson, and I watched the trailer, and I really liked it. It looks interesting. I'm not really sure I'm not sure if there's like a. So here's the fucking synopsis.
it's Ptolemy.
Ptolemy Gray,
Ptolemy.
and is an ailing man. Is forgotten by his family, his friends, and even by himself, suddenly left without his trusted caretaker and on the brink of sinking even deeper into a lonely dementia. Ptolemy is assigned to the care of orphan teenager Robin, played by, don't care. Sorry, I don't mean to like dismiss the actor or actress, but I for this purpose of reading this, I don't care. Now I feel guilty. By Dominique Fishback. When they learn about a treatment that can restore, is like going on that journey with me, that roller coaster ride. When they learn about a treatment that can restore Ptolemy's dementia-addled memories, it begins a journey towards shocking truths about the past, present, and future. So basically, Samuel L. Jackson's character is suffering from dementia, which is sadly kind of close to me right now because my stepfather is suffering from it. And it's a very, I mean, in my wife's grandfather had Alzheimer's. So like, those are really brutal diseases, because you watch the person slip away basically, and it's super sad. Just keeping the mood up here. It looks like his character has dementia. They find this treatment that helps restore his memories, and then we're going to go through, and it looks like he's lived a crazy life with a lot of stuff that's happened. And then it looks like the problem is that this is a temporary thing, and eventually it's like a booster shot, and eventually it's gonna disappear. He's gonna forget. It's gonna be even worse than when he started. But he's trying to find something out in these memories, and that's part of the mystery of the show. And I said, I just randomly watched this trailer last night. I didn't discuss it with Derek. I tossed it in. I just thought it looked interesting, and I still pay for Apple TV because I keep forgetting to cancel it. That's really the only reason. This comes out on March 11th, and I'm gonna watch it. I think it looks interesting. I'm looking forward to it. That's it. I haven't spoken a word about this to Derek, so I'm interested to see how you thought about it.
I think it looks interesting too. In the beginning it shows him sort of like before the treatment, and he's very demented, and just to keep on this, keep riding this train high, just good emotions all the time. My grandfather also died of Alzheimer's. And it seems like their movies tend to display neurological conditions that come with old age in totally inaccurate ways. Right. And there was like this simple scene where like he sees someone across the street and he goes like, hey, and he just like goes to walk in the street to go see him, and he almost gets hit by a car. And that's really some of the first stuff you see, like the common sense stuff, like look left, right, left again before you cross the road. Like that's kind of what goes first. There was other stuff in the trailer that made it seem like they were actually treating like dementia in the way that it should be treated. Beyond that, I got to be honest, like the premise of it I'm not crazy about. It seems like it's going to be an overly fantastical show. Seems like these memories he unlocks, it turns out he was like, had some treasure in his family that some family member buried that he now has to find for whatever reason. And I just feel like from watching this, that what's the ending is going to be is that it was actually just all something created in his demented mind. And he never actually had any of these.
That'd be really sad.
It would be super sad. I'm willing to check it out. It seems like it's a passion project for Samuel Jackson. He produced it. I think he was executive producer and he stars in it, of course. And
I love me some Sam Jackson.
Yeah, I don't. I'm on the other side of that, but I feel like people hire him. No, and I mean this. I feel like people hire him and they just want the guy that says motherfucker. And you have some directors who hire him and they want
if you can typecast a black actor any more than they are already typecasted, he's extremely typecasted.
But you have some directors like Quentin Tarantino brings him on and he's not that. Like he's does his own thing. Well, in the recent ones, I should say anyway. But I think the motherfucker thing started with like Pulp Fiction. But
yeah, thanks, Quentin.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's another one.
But do they speak English on Earth, motherfucker? Sorry,
but no, I'll watch it. I'll check it out. I tend to like to see actors' passion projects, even when they're not good. It's interesting to see sort of what they consider important works. So I'll check it out.
Yeah, I do like Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm glad you brought that up because I actually enjoy his serious roles. I think he's a good actor. I think he just, whatever. Anyway,
did you ever see Black Snake Moan?
Yeah, loved it.
Oh, God,
also, I mean, Christina.
Yeah, Christina Ricci. Yeah, that's Sammy
Sorry,
J. Christina Ricci.
Not trying to objectify here, but she is a beautiful lady.
Yeah, she is. I am trying to objectify.
I thought this trailer was also cut very well, mostly because I love the song "The Fire" by The Roots featuring John Legend. I think that's a great song. Mm-hmm. Well done to that trailer. Okay. That's the last of the trailers. There's a couple things I want to talk about before we do main topics, which are recent games that I've played, recent shows that I've watched that are not on the docket because Derek has not seen them. I actually didn't even think I told him I've been watching this, but do you have to pee?
I'm good.
Okay, very good, very good. But before we do that, Facebook.com/TheCynicalNerd if you want to follow us on Facebook. Twitter handle is @TheCynicalNerd. Hashtag #FuckTCN if we got something wrong. And hashtag AskTCN if you want to ask us a little question. If you're curious about us, you're curious about what we do in our free time. The answer is watch and play the games that we talk about here, and that's all we do ever.
We live our whole lives for you. No pressure.
Yeah. That's what we like. That's what we do because we like it, because we want it, because we enjoy it. I'm checking email right now. The answer is nothing new. That's not a big deal. If you want to email us, it's questions@thecynicalnerd.com for anything you want. Comment, concern, critique. I mean, we'll probably bury you, motherfucker. Just kidding. Like that one comment on YouTube that we tried to bait out. It's funny because we sound so salty about it, but really, I just think it would have been real fun.
Yeah,
so it would have been a real fun interaction. Plus, that show was hot garbage. Anyway, two things. Dying Light 2 just came out. There's a little bit of a controversy because, like, the day before it officially released for download, they snuck. Is it De Novo or?
Yeah, I think it's De Novo.
The DRM platform for anti-piracy. They snuck it in like a patch, like the day before it went live. So here's the thing. As far as I know, the biggest critique against that is just that it affects performance of the game, or supposedly affects performance. I have not had a single issue with it. Then again, Derek and I have monsters under our desks called 3080s, and they tank that shit on their back. I've been running mine at 2K and streaming it, which is taxing on the game as well, and it's been running pretty well. I mean, I've noticed some dips in frames here and there. I didn't have a counter up, but you visually can tell. Mm-hmm. It's been running fine. When I play it off stream, it runs super smooth. I'm having fun. If you like the first Dying Light, you will like the second Dying Light. If you didn't like the first one, I would wait to pick it up on a discount. You know what I mean? Like, the parkour feels better to me than the first one. It feels smoother when you get into a rhythm. But I mean, I don't really, obviously I can't talk about the story. I don't know too much about it yet. The city's cool. And that's all I got on that game so far. The other thing I wanted to mention was
I just wanted to interject on Dying Light 2 really quick. All that I've heard about Dying Light 2 is that the gameplay and like just the gameplay loop and the graphics, performance, and everything is all really great. But apparently the story is very lackluster. It's just very boring.
Yeah, that's why I said what I said, because I was like, I've heard similar things too, but I can't talk about it.
I have to say something though. Like I'm getting to a point where I was always growing up the person who was like, oh, well, I care about story more than anything in video games. Story's the most important thing.
Oh, you're going to say some controversial shit right now.
I'm going to say some controversial shit. I don't give a fuck about story anymore. I don't care. Like, I just want to play a game. I want a game that's fun to play. And if it has a good story as well, then that's great. You can have good games like Ghost of Tsushima that have lackluster stories that make it so that like you just don't really feel, oh, should I do one more mission before bed? And it's like you just don't have that drive to like, oh, I want to find out what happens to this guy or that guy. So like in that
combat
respect,
in Ghost of Tsushima is really satisfying.
It's incredible. But that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of games
now I want to go
now,
back and play it.
There's this like, yeah, well, we're an independent studio, so we put all our focus on story, so the gameplay is boring as shit. All right, but some people are into that. I will never play your game. Like, I want a fun game. I want to have fun when I'm playing a video game. So, like, the fact that the only thing people say, well, the main complaint people seem to have about Dying Light 2 is that the storyline isn't that good, but everything else is great. I can't justify a full price purchase right now, but I mean, I'm picking this up. That's enough for me.
I mean, the traversal alone is like it's like almost on par with like just swinging around the city in Spider-Man. Like it's very fun. I haven't even gotten the grapple. There's a grapple hook and a paraglider, which apparently like up that shit to crazy levels. I mean, there are zones in this game where there are skyscrapers. I can't speak to any of that. I'm still in the opening areas, but just running. I mean, there's a couple early skills you pick up that make parkour super fun, and more fluid, and it's super enjoyable. And I got to agree with you. Like, I'm logging in because I want to run around and find new shit and enjoy beating up zombies and like killing bad guys and looting and upgrading my stuff. I don't necessarily give a shit. All I expect from those games is there's a bad guy I have to stop and he has middling motivations. Like I don't give a shit what he wants to do. You know, and this leads me to the other game I just started playing, which is Pokemon Arceus. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Arceus.
Yeah.
I know if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I'm sorry that I offended you. I've talked so much shit on Nintendo and I gave them money. In my defense, I have no defense. I know what I did. Okay. I get it. I haven't actually played a Pokemon game since the original Pokemon games. I never played another one after Red and Blue. I didn't even touch Yellow. I didn't even play the special Yellow edition. I collected the cards for like the first 2 years that Pokemon was a thing, and then I stopped giving a shit. I always kind of liked Pokemon, but never enough to like. I never played Gold and Silver. I never played any of the other ones that came out. I kind of grew out of it at the same pace that like I never really got into anime or that kind of like the Pokemon just being these little cutesy creatures. I was like, that's baby shit in my brain. That's what I think. Like, that's baby now, shit. Mom. I'm playing GTA. I'm banging hookers and doing blow. But seriously, I mean, I just never gravitated back towards it after those initial first games on like Game Boy, and I did love those first games. I've just heard so many people talking about how this like open world Pokemon experience is different and really feels truly like the Pokemon game you wanted to play when you were little, but it never quite got there over the years. And the gameplay loop, to bring it back around to Dying Light 2, is very satisfying. And again, because I don't care about the storyline of a Pokemon game, why? That's not why you play a Pokemon game. You play a Pokemon game to catch all those motherfuckers. So I bought it yesterday and have already put like 4 hours into it because it's great. I keep hearing really fun.
Excellent things about it. Every trailer I saw for it looked awesome. And like everybody's just singing its praises. There's been a lot of like haters leading up to it. And like, I can't really see what the complaints were about. And like Nintendo is a greedy company, but it doesn't mean that they don't put out good games. Yeah. They put out great games. Sometimes Metroid Dread, Veronica got for me a couple months ago. Excellent. I never finished it, but excellently made game. It'll never go on sale in my lifetime or my son's lifetime, but doesn't mean the game isn't well done. So
Right.
I believe 100% that it's a fun game. I actually watched. I popped in on Jello's stream the other night for a little bit. I didn't watch for too long, but it seemed pretty good.
I have to point something physically out. You've been doing a much better job not fondling your mic too much this episode. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Yeah, it's good. And I know it's hard
Thank
to break
you, and
these
you're
habits. Thank you, and you're welcome. Anyway, so yeah, no, I mean the gameplay loop has been really fun. I mean, they do this thing where I kept, the reason I bought it is because I, like, yesterday or the day before, I kept seeing articles about how people, Friday, well, I think it was, I kept seeing articles about how people were spending like 40 hours in the first zone, like 25 hours in the first zone, because the gameplay loop is so satisfying that you don't get bored of it.
Yeah.
And it's this gameplay loop of like going back to town and restocking and updating the professor on your research. So the whole gist of the game is that you're like back in time. And it's just like when the Pokeball was just invented, and a lot of people are frightened of these creatures, because imagine if you walked outside and like a squirrel that was climbing a tree could like shoot lightning at you. You know, like they had, so these people like don't know they don't know about these species yet. They don't have a Pokédex. You're helping to build your character. So you're going out with these Pokeballs that you can craft yourself or buy them, and you're catching these things, and there's research like points for each one.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to get a certain amount of research points to like finish the entry. And it's anything from like catching a certain amount of this species to battling and defeating a certain amount of these species to evolving these species. And there's something about it, like it doesn't get boring.
You're making it sound awesome. You're making it sound
it's
so
very
awesome.
fun. It's very fun. And there's something about it. You go to town, you restock, you unlock you talk to the professor, and he gives you credits or whatever for the new research you've completed, and then you go back out and you're just wandering around throwing Pokeballs or throwing your Pokemon at them to battle them. And it's just really fun. I haven't even gotten super deep into it yet, but I'm already seeing like why people are praising this one, and I'm looking forward to it. I still have the little cutesy creature thing. I want a badass looking Pokemon. I don't want these, and I know like they get more badass when they evolve.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are still really cutesy, and I want,
like a tiger with like 3 dicks that have like swords
Yeah.
sticking out of them or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, especially the tiger with the 3 dicks. It's like Cerberus, but with dicks. Okay. Enough about that stuff. The last thing I would bring up, and I know it's probably a longer interim segment than you expected.
We've been watching.
I've been
a show
watching.
that I didn't tell you about. I'm curious if our periods are synced up here.
Well, I thought you were going to say Euphoria, which I did know about.
Whoops.
I've been watching The Righteous Gemstones on HBO Max.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been hearing about it a lot.
And this is the second season just came out. It's a Danny McBride show with John Goodman in it. I didn't realize John Goodman was in it.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from Workaholics, I always forget his name.
Adam.
He was in. Yeah, there you go. Driver. Sure, it's not his name, but we're going to call him
not
that.
Adam Levine either. That's that guy from Maroon 5.
Yeah, he's Adam something. Yeah.
The third Adam.
He's the one that was. He was the one that was in the acapella movie. He was a douchebag in that. He plays the same douchebag character and everything. He's in it, and the show is about like an evangelical family. And it's surprising to me because I got over Danny McBride's type of comedy a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was in Eastbound and Down, which was a really funny show for a little bit. And then I just after a while, I just get sick of his comedic style. And he's had a lot of shows like that, where there was one where he was like a school principal or something that was like, had his sensibility, but was like darker. And this feels like an interesting middle ground. So he's not the only character in it. We're not constantly following him. He is obviously one of the main characters, but I don't know. There's a lot going on. If you have any plans to watch it, I would not spoil it for you, but there's comedy, but there's
I do want to watch it. Just
yeah. There's a lot of family drama, and then there's some actual like good heart in it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of interesting conflict. I mean, being a big evangelical family, and John Goodman's the, figurehead of this family they've made, millions and millions of dollars, as most evangelical churches do. He's kind of ruthless when it comes to business, like gobbling up smaller churches. But at the same time, there are really tender scenes where it's very clear that he loves God and his family a lot, and it's well written. I like the show a lot. There's a lot of goofy shit, but there's also a lot of surprising stuff. I won't go into too much detail. I'm in the second.
So many people try to get me to watch this show over the past couple months, and you just convinced me so much more than anybody else did. I figured it was just another like dick and fart, like Danny McBride. He really aggressively tells people to go fuck themselves 9 times every episodes, and that's it. So I was like, all right, I'll watch it eventually. But I did put it on the first couple the first couple minutes of the first episode the other day, but Odin started fussing, so I had to turn it off.
Don't get me wrong, Danny McBride does his Danny McBride thing every once in a while, but it doesn't come off as overbearing to me because there's so many other characters in the show that the show gives time to.
Yeah.
Our boy Walter Goggins is in this. He's fucking hilarious. He was also in Ptolemy Gray there. I saw him in the trailer. He was the psychiatrist
or whatever.
Or whoever's involved with the treatment that he's going to be using. But no, it's a good show. I think it's worth your time. It's a little silly, but there's a surprising amount of depth to it. And I also want to point out that I feel like I'm good at convincing you to do stuff. So in the same vein as that, about this foursome, I keyed. I don't want to see anyone else's penis for fear that it's bigger than mine, and I would feel shame. Where are we going? On to our main topics. What do you want to talk about first? We got 3.
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
I feel like, not that it was not good, but I feel like I have the least amount to say about it.
Same page. I was going to say, good episode. We learned some stuff. The show's still entertaining. I'm still on board with it. It was fine. It wasn't like the funniest episode of the season. We're actually getting a lot more story because we're winding down. We're almost at the end of the season, so it's fine. It looks like he's about to fight his fucking dad, which is pretty intense. Yeah. And
I was really sad when Detective Song got killed by the butterfly.
I was too. Really, I liked her a lot.
Yeah, me too.
She had some serious sass with his father. It was always funny. Yeah. There was that bit where she just keeps calling him different white guys, which I fucking loved. No, I mean, the show's still funny. The show is just obviously doing the emotional turn. He literally said, he's like, I don't want to shoot people anymore. Or I don't want to kill people anymore. And that's a big turning point for someone who's talked about killing anyone in the name of peace. And they were like, well, these are aliens.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, right. That makes it better. So it's like Batman. Batman has killed plenty of aliens in his day.
Mm-hmm.
Tries not to kill the people in most iterations. But Darkseid's army is pure fodder, so totally fine. They're mindless anyway. Already been dead. Doesn't matter. Doesn't break the rule. Shh. Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're pretty much done with Peacemaker talking about it. It's funny. I'm interested to see where it finishes. Obviously, a fight between him and his super racist father is going to be interesting. It looks like his suit is like basically fucking Iron Man. He's got a bunch of powers from I saw the preview for the next episode. And I'm interested to see how there's this interesting thing going on now where there's like factions of the butterflies.
Yeah.
Myrn is infected with a butterfly. That's I'm glad I remember this. Has a great scene where the butterfly is like sad that he killed this guy.
He's like, part. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to take it from you.
Are you glad I brought it up? No, you go.
I was just going to say there was a part where he's mourning the fact that he killed Myrn, and like he starts off by saying, I can't even remember who he's speaking to, but he starts off by saying, you don't know what this guy did. He was a fucking blah, blah, blah. He killed kids. He did this. He did that. And then he just sort of gets this like grim look on his face, and he goes, and even I know all his thoughts, and I know that he had the capacity to change, and I took that from him. And I was like,
really good.
Whoa, like that. That was like, that fucking hit me in the chest, man. That was a really good scene. That was worth mentioning.
He said something like, he was like, I wake up every day in his memories. Like I can't like shit. And I was like, Jesus, this is like hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So this guy is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Mm-hmm. And apparently the work he put in, the effort he put in this series is why Gunn casted him. And I just after that scene, I was like, oh, okay, that's probably why. That was wonderfully delivered.
Yeah.
Great fucking job. This show has been doing that every once in a while. It'll sneak in an emotional hit amidst all the jokes. And I think they're really effective because the show is like so silly and over the top, and you always expect a tit pussy or fart joke.
Mhm.
And so when someone randomly becomes very vulnerable, it feels like it hits harder because of that. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
tickling the tip and all of a sudden just letting you come and you're like, oh, better than I thought it would be. Moving on. What are we thinking? Pam and Tommy? We'll save Fett for last.
Yeah.
P&T.
I'm going to open
you
up.
go first.
Okay.
Oh,
excellent.
look at
excellent.
that.
Look at that. In
Same
sync.
page all day.
Pam and Tommy is about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee and their very fast, very efficient marriage back in the 90s and the sex tape that they, well, it was efficient. They had the kids, they got divorced, boom, done. And the sex tape that they made out on his yacht or whatever. I knew nothing about like the inner workings of how that tape was obtained or anything. Like I had no idea any of this. I have no idea how much of this is fictionalized. This show is unbelievably well done. I thought that I was going to like this show. I am in love with this show. We have a 2-episode rule. There's 3 available. We just watched all 3. We're like upset we have to wait a week for the next one. The thing that's freaking me out, and I hate to sound like, I'm trying to sound like I'm so much older than I am or something, but what's freaking me out is this is an event. It's a period piece for a time that I was alive.
Right.
For an event that I remember watching on the news. And it's like, it's just making me feel like a fucking ancient fossil, dude. Like, and all the songs come on and we're like, oh yeah, this was a bop back in.
Oh, dude, the soundtrack is great.
Yeah. It's so good. It really is. But, just the overview, my overarching thoughts of it are this. It's an insanely well done period piece. It captures the mid-90s very well. It makes the characters and sort of what drives them so apparent without any exposition. We see that Pam is like, wanting to be seen as more than just like a sex idol. We see that Tommy is a fucking asshole, but like somehow deep down in there, like he really does love Pam. Like it's not this superficial thing. He loves this woman dearly. But we see the way that he treats other people is like they're beneath him, like they're just grime. Seth Rogen's character, he's like sort of our insert. He's just sort of the everyman, the dude who's struggling to pay the bills and the dude who's just always getting someone's always getting some, one over on him and he just gets fucking tired of it. He steals this guy's safe. And in it is this sex tape between him and Pam. And so he kind of decides, even though he's a moralistic guy, to mass copy and distribute this tape to make money off of him. So that's sort of like the setup of the show. It is done in an incredibly excellent way so far. Andrew Dice's Clay cameo was awesome. Veronica kept calling him Andrew Dice, and I'm like, who the fuck is Andrew Dice? And all of a sudden I went, oh, Andrew Dice Clay. And it clicked. Nick Offerman is incredible in it. Dude, the outfits in this show are like so... I don't want to just ramble. I'm getting scatterbrains. It is excellent. It's a very good show.
Yeah, it's really good. So I watched I kind of forgot, like you said, you mentioned last night to me that you were like, dude, I'm watching all 3. Samantha wanted to watch it with me. So we actually had she was up later than usual last night. We watched the first episode together, both loved it. And honestly, like Sebastian Stan does such a good job at being an unbearable prick as Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
The entire first episode is like, it's like there's a series of unfortunate events as a book series. This is called like a series of awkward encounters where he's just progressively more and more of a, I'm going to use this again, smarmy cunt. There you go. Used it for both men and women this episode. Equality. He's more and more of a smarmy cunt to these guys. Like he's like, oh, I want to move the bed. And then he's like, oh, I want a water bed. And he's like, yeah, sure. Get you your money. Get the fuck out of here. And then he's like, you know what? This work sucks. You guys are fired. And he progressively, each segment is so awkward to watch. Yeah. And Samantha was like, oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. I can't watch it. I can't watch it. He's being such a dickhead. And yeah, I mean, the whole prosthetic dick on Sebastian Stan is, and not even just the point where it's talking to him, which yes, is a real thing. There were puppeteers moving this fake dick on Sebastian Stan.
And it's voiced by the fella from The League. His name's Rafi on the show. I never remember his real name.
But
which is
like
easier to remember than Rafi, but for some reason,
watching like the drug fueled, courtship of how Tommy Lee just basically stalked Pam Anderson into like fucking him. Excuse me. I just, I feel bad for her, but not for him. I feel like I'm on, I fucking forget his name, Seth Rogen's side. I'm on his character's side when it comes to like sticking it to Tommy Lee, but I feel terrible for her because especially back in the 90s, I mean, she was nothing but objectified on Baywatch. It was the only reason she was there was to look hot in a bathing suit. And there's literally the monologue stuff where it was cut and she had been practicing for it. And she's talking to this person, and Barbed Wire is about to come out, and they're talking about how she wants to be portrayed and what she, like you said it earlier, but like she wants to be so much more than just like eye candy for people. And I feel bad for her. I do. And at the same time, the series is crazy and it's really fun. Again, soundtrack. I mean, Samantha and I were singing along to like every song that came on during the show. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I fucking remember. She like looked a couple songs up. She's like, oh yeah, right. That was this band. I'm crazy on board. I love the show too. I can't wait to watch more of it. This is probably not going to be one we talk about every week. I would say like we'll revisit when the show wraps up. I forget how many episodes it is, but I'll tell you in a second.
I also hope it's a mini series. I hope it's not like a continuous. That would just get.
I have no idea how many episodes is Pam and Tommy. 3? What?
No,
there's
no. 3 is what
we already watched 3
so far. Yeah.
Here we go. Hang on. 8 episodes total.
Okay.
I am a smart man because I found it quick. Anyway. I'm getting we're getting long in the tooth here. We got to figure out an episode title and a thumbnail. It's just think about it. Just prime your mind. Anyway,
can we do a tiger that has 3 dicks that has swords coming out of them?
It's a lot of work. Dicks on the thumbnail.
No dicks on the thumbnail. Rule number 2.
No dicks on the thumbnail. You know.
But they're swords. I don't know. They're not dicks. They're swords with a dick.
That's true. They're swords. Okay. Last but not least, the Book of Mandalorian. I know I keep saying that joke. I really. It's not even a joke to me though. Boba's been, like he appears in this episode, and I was like, oh hey, this is your show. Okay, this episode, I don't know how Derek feels about it because he wouldn't talk to me about it because he's a smarmy cunt. 3rd time I got to use it.
And 2 were on men, so.
I don't mean that. I love you. But this episode was like a Star Wars ride at Disney World, and I'm the 10-year-old who is like screaming in excitement the entire time he's on it. So many things happened in this episode that it's kind of crazy to say them out loud. So Mando gets back, he gets to see Grogu, and we see Luke, and we see Luke training Grogu, and we see Ahsoka again, and we see Ahsoka talk to Luke. And don't worry, I'm diving into all of these things. We see the Jedi Temple being built, his Jedi Temple, the beginnings of the Jedi Temple being built. We see Cad Bane, his first appearance in live action. We get to see Cobb Vanth come back. I mean, Jesus Christ, so much stuff happens in this episode. And it's like a wonderland for a Star Wars fan. And just right off the bat, I'm going to keep my part brief until I hear Derek's feelings on the whole episode. After Mando season 2 finale came out and the Luke looked a little shoddy, like the CGI, if he wasn't talking, it was just a still frame. It was pretty okay. But the minute he started talking or even like kind of moving, his face around or his eyes around or anything, it was pretty middling. It was a little disappointing, but it's a show. So you're like, okay, well, it's show budget, we're not movie budget. Immediately after that finale came out, there's a guy on YouTube who went by Shamuk, who did deep fakes, and he deep faked it with video video of past Lukes. He compiled them all together, and instantly it looked better than the series 2 finale. The mouth still looked weird, but that's because it's mapping onto the CGI mouth. So ipso facto. Also, speech on anything that's not actually human is the hardest thing to animate. So instantly looked better. Then a couple months later, we saw an article that said that Disney hired that guy. And we were like, fucking cool. Like, you did good work. They hired you. It is immediately apparent the fruits of their labor. Luke looks unfucking real in this.
Yeah.
Like, when he talks, there's still a little uncanny valley there. But holy shit, like the first shot of him on the hill, I was like,
we were like amazed. We were like our jaws were on the floor. How good it looked. It was pretty incredible.
Like hats off to that guy and what he's helped Disney do, because Jesus Christ, like he could be a regular supporting character with that. And I'd be totally okay with it. Like I mentally know that it's not actually Mark Hamill. It's impossible, but like, holy shit. Like it looks so good. All right. But anyway, how did you feel about the episode?
I thought it was really great. I thought it was excellent. I'm actually primarily going to let you take the reins.
Just tell me that. I don't need you to dive into spoilers, but just tell me if you like it.
You not being able to come helps me come.
Oh no, I don't like that. Tips to remember for the foursome.
Honestly, like I
gotcha.
Honestly, I don't have much to say about this episode, not because not enough happened to discuss, but there's so much happening and I have so many questions and so many like, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? That I'm almost like, I don't want to have word vomit. I just want to watch the last episode and just see what happens and go from there. I'll say this though. Cad Bane is his name.
Yeah.
Was an unbelievably well done character. His voice was so fucking menacing. Dude,
it's the voice actor from the Clone Wars series. They brought the same guy back. Which
is crazy because I feel like I saw him in a couple episodes and his voice never really like hit me like it did in this. I don't know if they modulated it in some way. Dude, Veronica and I were watching it and I like, as soon as he starts talking, I had like fucking goosebumps on the back of my neck and we were both like, dude, that dude's voice is incredible. Holy shit. It's so like horrifying.
He is extremely menacing in that scene.
Yeah.
It's great.
I thought that the shootout was great. I thought that was like a great space Western type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you already touched on all the Luke stuff. That scene was all great. I feel like some of those scenes went on a little longer than they had to. Two things I'm going to mention. One is that I thought it was really neat how there was this weird, what I felt like, maybe you can tell me if I'm reading too deeply into it.
Okay.
I feel like in Empire Strikes Back on Dagobah, you have Yoda trying to train Luke, and Luke is just so fucking focused on his X-Wing, and he just can't lift it out of the swamp, and Yoda just goes like, all right, let me show you how easy this is if you actually paid attention and applied yourself, and lifts his X-Wing out. And so basically now, Luke, Yoda's Padawan, has a Yoda Padawan of his own now, and he's getting distracted and lifting frogs out of the lake. And so he kind of does this thing where he goes like, all right, I'm going to lift every frog out of this lake to show you that if you just paid attention to me and focused yourself, how much more you could be doing. I don't know if that was me reading too deep into it, but that felt like him applying Yoda's lesson to him to grow.
100%. I mean, it's like poetry. It's like poetry. It all rhymes.
It rhymes. So the other thing is the instant of Yoda, I'm sorry, Grogu being defended on Coruscant. That 3-second shot had me in tears. It was so sad.
Oh,
that's like a guy, right? That's an actual person, one of those Jedi. Veronica asked me, and I didn't have the answer.
Well, there's only speculation because you don't really see the face of any of them. But there's a couple Jedi that were speculated. One of them was like one of the sword masters there on Prem.
Mm-hmm.
I said on Prem. Little industry term there, on Prem. But he was also shown in like one of the holocrons as like fighting Anakin, so he probably got murked by it. Like there's a lot of back and forth about who those guys were, but I haven't read definitively that they were like, oh yeah, this is this guy.
And then the second thing is this. I feel like the big hitch of this episode is it ends on the note where Din Djarin delivers his Beskar chainmail to Grogu. Ultimately, Ahsoka talks him out of actually seeing it too. That was a heartbreaking scene, by the way. Just him deciding that it was, best for him to just not have to see him. And Luke making him make the decision between basically taking Yoda's old lightsaber, and
which was a cool reveal too.
It was
that Luke had that, yeah.
And continuing his Jedi training, or essentially
going back to Mando. And
so I wanted to say what I think is going to happen, what I think would be cool if it happens, and then I'd like to hear what your prediction for the last episode, because I imagine that'll be revealed next week.
Probably. Maybe.
So I think that both what's going to happen and what would be sort of like just the coolest thing to happen for the storyline is that he foregoes his Jedi training and goes back with the Mandalorian. I think that it would be weird for them to build up 2 seasons of this relationship just for Grogu to be like, all right, I'm off the show now, but good, best of luck.
Right.
But not even just in a logistical sense. I feel like that would be a more meaningful thing to see. We've seen every like Jedi come up in story where like they become a Padawan and you either are tempted by the dark side or you're not. And then they become a fully fledged. Like we know that story. We've seen it so many times. Sure. It's been done in slightly different ways with Luke, because he had no proper Jedi order to train him. But we've been down that road. I think it would be a lot more interesting to have Grogu link back up with Din Djarin as like a force sensitive user, like someone who's never focused his powers.
Yeah.
That's what I found Donnie Yen's character rather to be the most fascinating in Rogue One, because he's force sensitive. I always thought that was a cool concept, that like basically the Jedi Order is looking for force sensitive people to take under their wing and train into full-fledged Jedis. But the fact of the matter is, 1% of the population is force sensitive, and then 1% of those force sensitive people actually come across a Jedi who takes them in and trains them. So there's a lot of force sensitive people out there,
especially like post Old Republic, where there's not like a Jedi temple. There were people who like all they did was track down force sensitives,
Yeah. So I think that would make for a cooler thing to see, sort of like an unhinged Grogu, because he doesn't know how to control his powers. Maybe even dark side shit comes out when he's angry, when like Mandalorian gets hurt or something, rather than just him like, no, I'm just going to
force choked Cara Dune at one point. I think
he force choked someone. Was it Cara Dune? No. It was the stormtroopers that had him held captive. There was like 2 of them, and he force choked him. So I think that would just be a cooler thing for the show, but we'll see what happens. I hope we don't see too much more of Luke from now on. I just feel like he had his heyday and it was great, and eventually it might overstay its welcome.
I agree. Now it's cool to see. It's cool to see glimpses of post Return of the Jedi Luke, and I feel like we get too much of it, and it'll become, too much is always a bad thing whenever it comes to anything in life. Whether it be Luke Skywalker or hey, even Grogu. At one point, you're gonna get sick of that motherfucker. If he was in every episode, maybe he wouldn't be as cute. I'm just kidding. He's always adorable. Okay, so there's a very real chance I could cry, but we're going to go through the episode. I just want to warn you here. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this episode that was like, only Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau would know how meaningful it is to the people that they're making it for, because Dave's been involved in most of this. Dave made the character of Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. So a ton of shit happens in this episode. To me, like, the biggest moment is when Ahsoka is talking to Luke Skywalker. And that's because she was Padawan to Anakin. This is your father's Padawan. And, to see she's talking about Master Luke, and there had always been speculation, like the minute she showed up in Mandalorian, like, oh, cool. So she's confirmed to be alive post Return of the Jedi. Like, there's no way that Luke and her don't interact, don't have conversations, don't know each other. And just to hear, he's talking about his concern about Grogu's training, and he's not sure if he's in it or not. And she just looks at him and smiles, and I can feel it. And she's like, you're just like your father. And I was like, I was like, oh my God. And I wept like a child. I wept for a lot of this episode because I didn't know we were going to get to see Luke training Grogu for such a long time. And and it's not just that, but I cannot reiterate enough how well done he looked in this episode. So it was like going back in time a little bit. Hearing him tell Grogu about Yoda, about his master, and about how he trained him and how he talked in riddles, and about, it's not about your size. Sees the size matters not. And he even gave his own version of do or do not. There is no try. I forget exact verbiage, but it was like a play on those words. Seeing this little montage of like Grogu like bouncing around on rocks and becoming like a more well-rounded, self-sufficient creature. Like now he wouldn't need Mando to like carry him around all the time necessarily. Like he can hold his own. I've heard lots of rumors that like they were like, well, maybe it's not supposed to be Mando eventually who holds the Darksaber. Maybe it's going to be Grogu because he's like a Mandalorian and a foundling or whatever and a Jedi. And I was like, that would be stupid because the Darksaber is like 16 times bigger than Grogu. Yeah. And it would look so fucking goofy. So I really hope that does not happen. But there's so much in this episode that just like, if you're a Star Wars fan, like hits it. There's a moment when they're training and there's so much of the original George Lucas inspiration in this where Jedi were based off of samurais and they're running through bamboo thickets and, Luke is literally wearing what looks like a kimono at one point or like a gi. I'm not sure the exact verbiage for it. I think it might be a gi, but he's wearing like he's in a black outfit and you're like, oh, that's his normal black outfit, but it's not. You can see it's like across here and there's like a belt or something. And there's so much like cool imagery. And there's one point where he's running through the forest with Grogu on his back like he did with Yoda, and he does the fucking front flip. And he climbs up this bamboo thicket and he's looking out over the world and talking about balance. And as he's doing it, the Force theme swells up behind them.
Oh, so good.
Again, I'm holding it back. I openly wept at so many points in this episode, that one being a major one. And then, seeing Cobb Vanth again was awesome, and seeing how he's doing. I really like his character. Obviously, now that I'm saying that, the thumbnail will be something about a glory hole for Grays because, he's back. I have a pillow, Timothy Oliphant, because of you guys, that my cat sleeps on now. She's just taking it as her own.
She's a big
so now
Tim
it's covered
fan.
in hair. Yeah, big. She is a big Tim fan. Virginia is a huge Tim fan. It was cool to see him again. It was cool to see how the town's doing. They've renamed themselves to Freetown, which is kind of silly, but whatever. It's Star Wars. And then it was super fucking. So after all that, after like that Star Wars overload of getting to see R2 again, getting to see Ahsoka interact.
Damn,
with
I forgot R2 was in it. There's so much shit that happens after that. I forgot he was even in it.
Getting to see Ahsoka interact with Luke and the training and all that shit that was so wonderful to see as a Star Wars fan. It was just being like served desserts one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, the name of the episode was From the Desert Comes a Stranger, which was a sick title, by the way. It sounds like the name of a song by a metal band.
It's a biblical passage.
And to
From the
like
desert comes a stranger, I think, right?
We're like probably. From the desert comes a stranger for 500, Alex. Oh, R.I.P. Trebek. What's the verdict?
I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I'm wrong.
From the desert comes a stranger. Yeah, all I see is references to the actual episode. Okay, well, womp womp.
But in any
anyway, so I'm like emotionally and mentally exhausted at this point, and the episode's wrapping up, and then all of a sudden you look off in the distance and you see this character, and I was like, I'm watching this and I'm like, it's quiet up here, it's late at night, and I was like, no fucking way, like super loud. And they get closer and you see that it's Cad Bane, which people have been talking about, like maybe he would show up in the Boba Fett series because he's a bounty hunter.
What's his race called? I had meant to tell Veronica and I forgot to look it up.
Durian or Durin?
Durian, okay.
I think. Cad Bane. Duros. I was an asshole.
Duros, okay.
He's a Duros. Anyway, to see him in live action and to see how badass they made him with the voice and the teeth, and the eyes are so unsettling to look at because there's no pupil, so like a color concentration in the middle. His mask is bad. I don't know if you know this, but the tubes he's got going into his cheeks help circumvent if he gets force choked by a Jedi. Like that's why that's there.
Oh shit.
Because he was one of the only bounty hunters who could take down Jedi back in the day. I mean, this guy was the guy who forced Anakin to his knees and forced him to open a holocron because he needed to take it back to Palpatine. Like he was basically the go-to after Jango disappeared. Cad Bane was the most badass motherfucker in the galaxy. They did a lot of cool storylines with him in the Clone Wars. He kidnapped senators and shit. He's not one to fuck with. Mm-hmm. And to see him be so incredibly menacing in live action was just a joy. Yeah. Obviously, Cobb Vanth is not dead. It was clearly a shoulder wound, but his deputy, he might be little dead. He's popping his fucking mouth off over there. He's the reason Cobb Vanth lost the draw because Cobb got distracted, looked over at his stupid deputy. I'm interested to see how this wraps up. We had the last episode coming up. There's a lot of moving parts here. I honestly don't care so much about Boba Fett anymore in this series, but I mean, I feel like we just got JO'd for 2 episodes and I'm like spent and I just want to clean up with a towel and have the series be over. Don't talk to me. I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm done. Don't talk to me. Something about Gray's Glory. I don't know. I got to find it. We're going to figure out. We're going to workshop this. Maybe the thumbnail will just be like in the sun, look at Glory Hole.
And just like a red eye on the other side.
Oh, Cad Bane's eyeball on the other side. Oh, because he's looking for Timothy Oliphant. That's why.
Exactly. I know you're in there, Tim.
Oh. I wish the hole was big enough so I could have him like squinting, but I'm not that good at Photoshop. Anyway, we'll figure out a title later, but that's going to wrap it up. That's everything. We've gushed about Boba Fett for long enough. Sorry, Mandalorian / Grogu / Luke. God damn, that Luke Skywalker looked good, dude.
It was good. It was very good.
Good job, Lucasfilm, on that. You that was probably your best hire in like the past 3 years, was hiring that YouTuber Shamook to help with the deepfake. Shout out to that guy for being a fucking genius. And with that, I'll say thanks to our sponsors this week. We get Factor 75. There was a couple more. Sorry, I forget your names. You can cancel us if you want to.
They're pulling our sponsorship now.
Where can everybody find you, Derek?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD. That's DRGLOOMMD. I'm going to be streaming Elden Ring on the 25th.
Whoop, whoop.
And probably nothing until then, honestly. That's probably going to be my re-entrance into the streamosphere. So
my re-entrance. You can also find me on TNT. That's Twitch and Twitter, not TNT, the television channel. At TCN Place, I have begun streaming again. I have returned. I started again on, I don't know, Friday?
A few days ago.
Yeah, Friday night. I streamed Friday and Saturday. I'm off tonight. I think I'm going to be moving to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday schedule. So 4 days a week. I don't stream for long intervals. It's usually 2 hours a piece. It's really all I can do. Sorry, dad life. Hashtag dad life. I hated that.
It's too late though. You said it.
Yeah, I did. I've been playing Dying Light 2 for now. My buddy, shout out to Smads, longtime viewer and friend of the channel and the podcast. He talked me into buying this VTOL VR. It's a VR simulator for flying a jet, but it's like it's supposed to be a good balance between realism and like a video game. So there's like legitimately like, you know, levers and switches and shit you have to hit. But he works on a military base and is like kind of into jets and stuff like that. Like
right.
he works on a base where they filmed parts of the new Top Gun movie, like out in the desert.
Oh shit.
Can't give his location away, but he has a cool job. He's never, you know, some of it's classified, but I know that he works in IT, I think. Anyway. He's really into jets. He was like, dude, it'd be really cool if you can play it sitting down, obviously, because you're in a jet seat.
Yeah.
He's like, I can be your guy in the chair. I can teach you how to fly it. While she's like, I think it would be really cool. So I bought that, and I'm probably going to do that sometime this week. I wasn't sure if I wanted to like resurrect my ghetto green screen setup, which is like me. I have a bar that I screwed into the ceiling back here that I clamp a green screen onto,
right,
and then like pin it to the walls, which is a giant pain in the ass. Or if I probably just do regular camera, just you sitting here with
you
the
gotta
VR
let me know
headset
when
on.
you do that, because that sounds like objectively awesome to watch. So
I'm probably not going to do it tomorrow because it's too soon and I want some time to prep again, because streaming VR is kind of cumbersome still. I wish someone would come up with a better solution, but it's a pain in the ass to look at chat. It's cumbersome. There's a separate display input. I had to install like a third-party plug-in to get it to pull the capture rate from the headset, all that kind of stupid, annoying shit that they still haven't figured out the kinks of streaming VR. But probably like a Wednesday or maybe a Friday for that. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm also, I know I've been just, shilling for myself for a while here.
Chill away, Daddy.
I'm gonna be bringing back Super Smash Bros, but I'm only doing it once a month because my body and health cannot sustain doing that every Saturday. So I haven't picked the day yet. Probably going to be like the last Saturday of every month or something like that. That we'll do, Super Smash Brothers, where if you don't know, I put on a suit and tie. I have a little fake desk. Green screen definitely goes up, and I watch other people fight and just do shitty commentary and get hammered. And I have clips of me. It's a
very good time.
I have clips of me being so drunk that I'm just like reclining in my chair, like on stream, because I'm like super tired. I just fall off the stream. I'm like, oh, what? Huh? Yeah, that's it. So I'm back streaming again. A cool key light coming tomorrow. I'm excited for that. Coming today. Ooh, it might actually be here.
Ooh.
And I'll stop rambling so we can get the fuck out of here. It's been a good time. It's episode 54 of The Cynical Nerd. See ya.
See ya.